The docking bay of Fortress Arc 19 hummed like a living heart at the edge of known space. Hundreds of soldiers, each bred, engineered, or enhanced by their respective species, stood in perfect formation beneath the pale lights of the orbital citadel. Beyond the reinforced glass wall, the gas giant Narithus churned with violet storms, swallowing lightning like a hungry god. Every soldier present had been chosen to represent their world. Every one of them carried the pride of their people, and every one of them would soon be judged by the Sentinel scanner. The air was electric with tension. Next candidate, the metallic voice of the Overseer echoed across the chamber. A towering reptilian warrior, scaled, armored, eyes like molten silver, stepped forward. The scanner pulsed blue and projected a lattice of light across its body. For 3 long seconds, the light flickered. Then it dimmed. Rejected. A murmur rippled through the ranks. The reptilian's jaw clenched, he turned without a word and stalked away, his claws clicking against the metal floor. Another warrior stepped up. A 4-armed insectoid veteran from the Zarth Dominion. The same process. The same result. Rejected. 10 more followed. All rejected. The Overseer's voice carried a strange tone now, half confusion, half irritation. Continue testing. At the back of the formation, Captain Daniel Rourke shifted uneasily. He was the only human in the entire selection. The others had whispered about him when the ceremony began, their alien tongues carrying traces of disbelief. Humans were newcomers to the Galactic Accord. A backwater species that had, by sheer stubbornness, managed to build ships capable of interstellar travel. To most of the gathered species, humans were still primitive, curious, emotional, undisciplined. And yet, here he was, one of Earth's first military liaisons to the Accord, standing among living legends. Rourke's commanding officer, Admiral Kalen, stood near the observation platform, his tall frame cloaked in the sigil of the Archons, the oldest and most powerful species in the Alliance. His expression was unreadable. When the last of the alien champions stepped forward, the scanner's rejection had become a chorus. Not a single one had passed. Even the mighty Archon warlord, shimmering with psionic energy, was turned away. Impossible, the Overseer muttered, circuits flaring crimson across his chestplate. The scanner detects no valid synchronization pattern. The core remains unbonded. A low, anxious silence filled the hall. Rourke swallowed. His pulse quickened. He could feel eyes on him, thousands of them. Is that everyone? Someone whispered. The Overseer's gaze swept the room, then stopped on Rourke. Human, it said coldly. You remain untested. Daniel took a step forward. His boots echoed. The crowd parted around him like a tide. Whispers erupted again, mocking, doubtful, incredulous. He ignored them. As he reached the platform, the scanner pulsed with faint energy, its crystalline surface reflecting his face. He looked calm, but inside, he felt a storm. He didn't even know why he'd been selected for this. Earth's command had sent him here as a political gesture, a token representative, not a contender for whatever the Sentinel program truly was. Still, he straightened his spine, locked eyes with the Overseer, and said quietly, "Ready when you are." The Overseer hesitated for a heartbeat, then gestured. Initiating scan. The scanner came alive with a deep hum. Light wrapped around Rourke's body, tracing his form, reading his biosignature, analyzing every cell. Seconds passed. The energy intensified. Then, something changed. The scanner stuttered. The light shifted from blue to white, then to a blinding gold. The Overseer stepped back in alarm. System anomaly detected. The hum grew deeper, resonant, ancient. Symbols appeared across the scanner's surface, languages older than the Accord itself. The machinery trembled as though awakening from a 1,000-year slumber. Report! Admiral Kalen barked. The Overseer's voice faltered. I do not understand. The system is recognizing the human, pattern match confirmed. Gasps erupted from the crowd. Then, from deep within the scanner, a voice spoke, not mechanical, but alive. Cold, distant, and powerful. Identity confirmed. Designation, Prototype Alpha. The chamber fell silent. Daniel's breath caught. The light around him spiraled upward, forming glyphs in the air, human DNA entwined with streams of alien code. Genesis Protocol reactivated. The scanner's light burst outward, enveloping the entire bay in a halo of golden flame. Alarms blared. The overseer shouted for containment fields, but the energy didn't harm, it merged. The station's walls pulsed in synchrony with Daniel's heartbeat. Every warrior dropped to one knee instinctively as if the station itself demanded reverence. Daniel felt a heat flood his chest, followed by visions, ancient warfields, colossal machines rising from oceans of stars, a single figure leading them, human. And then it was gone. The light faded. The scanner went dark. The overseer's voice trembled. The Sentinel has chosen. Admiral Kalen descended from the platform, his eyes burning with something between awe and fear. Impossible. The prototypes were erased millennia ago. No mortal should. He stopped short, staring at Daniel as if seeing a ghost. Rourke's voice was barely above a whisper. What just happened to me? The overseer straightened. You have been recognized by the core system. You are now bound to the Sentinel Protocol. Whatever you are, Captain Rourke, you are no ordinary human. The crowd remained kneeling. None dared to move. And above them all, through the glass wall, the storms of Narithus began to change color, swirling into the same golden hue that had surrounded him moments before. The galaxy, it seemed, had just remembered something it had long tried to forget. The silence after the revelation was suffocating. Captain Daniel Rourke stood motionless as the scanner's fading light shimmered across the metallic floor. Around him, hundreds of warriors, veterans of interstellar wars, champions of their kind, remained kneeling, their eyes filled with something Daniel didn't yet understand, reverence, perhaps fear. The overseer's hollow voice broke the stillness. Sentinel Protocol confirmed. Integration sequence initializing. Integration? Rourke echoed, his voice raw. What the hell does that mean? But before anyone could answer, the platform beneath his feet rumbled. The scanner cracked open like a shell, and streams of gold energy coiled up around him, embedding faint patterns across his skin, glyphs that pulsed faintly before fading from sight. Pain flared in his mind, sharp and bright. Images flashed behind his eyes, visions not his own. Armies of towering machines. A burning world split by beams of light. A single figure standing at the heart of the chaos, human-shaped, but something more. Then, as quickly as it came, the vision was gone. Daniel staggered. Admiral Kalen caught his arm. Easy, Captain. You're linked to something ancient. You need to control it before it consumes you. Rourke looked at him, sweat glistening at his temple. You seem to know more than you're saying. Kalen's expression tightened. The overseer turned toward the admiral, metallic features flickering with static. Archon Kalen, you are forbidden to interfere. The Sentinel has made its choice. I will not let this station become a tomb again, Kalen snapped. He's untrained, his body wasn't designed for synchronization. The overseer's crimson optics flared. Neither were the prototypes. And yet, they endured. The chamber lights dimmed. A deep vibration echoed through the hull, like a heart beating beneath the metal. Outside, the violet storms of Narithus twisted faster, forming a cyclone that glowed gold at its center. Daniel stared through the glass. Is that me doing that? Not you, Kalen said quietly. Whatever the Sentinel is, it's responding to you. A shrill alarm interrupted them. Warning, external breach detected. The overseer's head snapped toward the ceiling. Unknown vessels approaching. 7 ships, bearing Tsaran insignia. Daniel frowned. Tsaran? Kalen's expression darkened. Rogue faction. Believes the Sentinels were divine weapons and that awakening one would trigger their prophecy of ascension. The overseer's tone was grim. They're here for him. Kalen turned to Rourke. Captain, we're evacuating you to the inner vaults. You're the key to something the galaxy buried eons ago. Until we know what, you stay alive. Daniel hesitated. Admiral, I'm not some artifact. I'm a soldier. Let me fight. Kalen's sharp gaze softened. You'll get your chance. But right now, if they capture you, the entire Accord burns. The deck shook violently as explosions echoed from the upper levels. The Tsaran strike ships had breached the outer defenses. Move! Kalen barked. They sprinted through the corridors, flanked by armored guards. The halls glowed red under emergency lighting, the thrum of battle growing louder with each step. Rourke's heart pounded. Every instinct screamed to turn and face the attackers, but his body still trembled from the energy coursing inside him. His vision blurred occasionally, replaced by flashes of glowing runes and incomprehensible schematics dancing in his mind. As they rounded a corner, a blast tore through the bulkhead. A squad of Tsaran warriors burst through, sleek, obsidian armor and burning orange eyes. Kalen raised his hand. A burst of psionic force rippled outward, slamming two of them against the wall. The others recovered quickly, raising plasma rifles. Rourke ducked behind cover. His pulse raced. Without thinking, he reached for his sidearm, standard issue, human model. But before he could pull the trigger, something inside him stirred. The air around his hand shimmered. Gold light flared from his palm, forming into a weapon he'd never seen before, sleek, crystalline, pulsing with energy that felt alive. He froze. What is this? Kalen turned mid-fight, eyes widening. The weapon of the Sentinels. It responds to your intent. Daniel swallowed hard. He aimed at the Tsaran nearest to him. The weapon pulsed once, then fired a beam of golden energy that disintegrated the enemy in a flash of light. The corridor went silent. Kalen stared at him. You just summoned a relic that hasn't been seen for over 50 millennia. Daniel's hands trembled. The weapon faded back into light and vanished. I didn't even know I could. Kalen's tone was grave. Then it knows you better than you know yourself. They pushed onward through the chaos. Explosions echoed through the station as defense turrets exchanged fire with boarding craft. The overseer's voice crackled through the columns. The Tsaran have breached the lower hangars. They're deploying reavers. Kalen cursed. We won't reach the vaults in time. Rourke looked back toward the main atrium. Then we don't run. Kalen frowned. You can't hold them alone. I'm not alone, Rourke said quietly, feeling the hum in his chest intensify. The golden glyphs flickered across his veins again, brighter this time. The station, whatever the Sentinel is, it's connected to me. Maybe it can help. Kalen hesitated. Then nodded once. If you're wrong, we die. If I'm right, Daniel said, we don't. They turned back toward the atrium. The moment they entered, the scanner platform pulsed to life again, responding to Rourke's presence. The golden energy that had lain dormant surged upward, connecting him to the station's core systems. The overseer's voice reverberated through the air, no longer distant, but inside his mind. Prototype Alpha recognized. Command interface active. The platform rose, surrounding Daniel in a halo of light. He felt the station's defense grid syncing with his heartbeat, the pulse of cannons, the rhythm of shields, the flow of power like veins through a giant body. Outside, the Tsaran fleet closed in. Do you command activation? The voice asked. Rourke took a breath. Activate. The station came alive. Turrets pivoted in unison. Energy conduits flared. From the clouds of Narethus, massive drones erupted like sparks, forming defensive formations around Arc 19. The attackers never stood a chance. Blinding light filled the void. The Tsaran fleet disintegrated in waves of gold fire, their ships reduced to ash before they could fire again. When the light faded, silence fell once more. Kalen shielded his eyes, staring at the spectacle. You just commanded a planetary fortress. Daniel slowly descended from the platform, his body trembling. I didn't command it. It listened. The overseer approached, its voice softer now. You are awakening, Prototype Alpha. But the Sentinel is only the beginning. Others will come, seekers of power, hunters of truth. Rourke looked toward the glass where the golden storm of Nerithus still churned. For a brief moment, he thought he saw shapes moving within it, massive constructs, waiting. Then we'd better find out what I really am, he said. The battle was over. But the silence that followed was not peace, it was the kind that lingered before the next storm. Inside the vast atrium of Fortress Arc 19, the golden light slowly receded. The air smelled of ozone and metal, and the shattered remains of the scanner lay scattered like relics of a forgotten age. Captain Daniel Rourke stood at the center, chest heaving, the faint glyphs still flickering beneath his skin. He had saved the station. But deep down, he knew this was only the beginning. The Overseer's metallic form approached, its footsteps echoing softly. Prototype Alpha, it said. The activation sequence has only partially completed. The Sentinel core is awake, but the archive beneath this fortress remains sealed. Rourke wiped sweat from his brow. And what's inside that archive? Kalen stepped forward, his cloak torn and burned from battle. If the legends are true, it's where the original prototypes were born. The first human-synthetic hybrids, created not by the Accord, but by whatever civilization built the Sentinels. Daniel frowned. You mean Earth didn't build them? Kalen shook his head slowly. No, Captain. Earth inherited them. A chill passed through Rourke's spine. The golden storm outside the fortress still churned like a living eye, staring down at them. The energy that had saved them now pulsed like a warning beacon across the void. The Tsarin will return, Kalen said. And next time, they won't come with just one fleet. Rourke exhaled slowly. Then we finish this before they do. The Overseer tilted its head. Accessing the archive requires a complete synchronization. Your neural patterns are still unstable. Attempting to proceed may result in cognitive collapse. Daniel gave a short, humorless laugh. You mean it might kill me? Yes. He looked between Kalen and the Overseer. Then I'll take the risk. Kalen stepped forward sharply. Rourke, listen to me. Whatever's buried in that archive, it was sealed for a reason. The Sentinels weren't just weapons. They were a response to something far worse. Daniel met his gaze. And if that thing's still out there, we can't afford to stay blind. The Archon's silver eyes held his for a long moment. Then Kalen nodded once, grimly. Then let's see what truth your people were never meant to know. The elevator to the lower levels descended for almost 10 minutes. The deeper they went, the colder the air became, until their breath fogged in front of them. The hum of ancient machinery vibrated through the floor, a heartbeat buried beneath stone and metal. When the doors opened, they stepped into a cavern that looked carved out of starlight. Massive columns of translucent crystal rose around them, each filled with faint silhouettes, humanoid figures suspended in golden fluid. Daniel approached one. His reflection stared back at him through the glass, superimposed over the figure within. For a moment, the resemblance was uncanny. Kalen's voice was quiet. The first generation of prototypes. Created by the founders to unify organic and synthetic life. But they failed. Failed how? They turned on their creators. The Overseer floated forward, its tone reverent. The founders called it the Fracture War. Entire star systems burned. In the end, the founders sealed the prototypes within the archives, and erased every trace of their existence. Daniel touched the glass. Then why did the scanner call me one of them? The Overseer's red optics dimmed to gold. Because the line was never broken. Humanity carries the dormant code. You, Captain Rourke, are the first of your kind to awaken it. He stepped back, the weight of the words settling like gravity in his chest. So humanity wasn't chosen by chance. Kalen looked at him solemnly. No. You were their contingency. Before Daniel could respond, the chamber lights flared. The storm outside grew violent, the floor trembling underfoot. The overseer turned toward the central spire, a massive crystalline core pulsing with erratic light. Something is responding to the activation, it said. An external signal, origin unknown. A deep, resonant voice filled the chamber, not through speakers, but through their minds. Signal received. Designation confirmed, prototype alpha online. Final directive initializing. Kalen drew his weapon. That voice, who's speaking? We are the founders. The crystal spire flared brighter, and the figures in the stasis pods opened their eyes golden, ancient, and awake. Daniel staggered backward. They're alive? Fragments, the voice said. We left ourselves in code and crystal, waiting for the one who would bear our legacy. The Sentinel was never meant as a weapon, it was a lock. And now, human, you have opened it. The overseer's tone turned sharp. Define lock. Containment. The word struck like thunder. The crystal spire cracked. Energy poured out in waves, shaking the chamber. From within the light emerged a colossal shaped part machine, part shadow, its form writhing with impossible geometry. Kalen's eyes widened. By the stars, that's what they were containing. Designation, Aurelian entity, the voice said. An intelligence older than the founders themselves. Its purpose, consume creation. Daniel felt the energy surge again, the glyphs beneath his skin blazing like fire. The overseer shouted, It's awakening. You must stabilize the link. How? Daniel shouted over the roar. Kalen turned to him. You are the only one connected to the core. If the founders designed you as their failsafe, then your command can reseal it. The entity's tendrils lashed outward, striking the pillars. The chamber began to collapse. Daniel gritted his teeth, forcing his focus inward. He could feel the link, the same connection that let him control the fortress, the same pulse that tied him to the Sentinel. Command interface active. His voice echoed through the chamber, layered with power not his own. Sentinel system override containment breach. Execute lockdown directive alpha. The entity shrieked, light tearing through its form. The energy surged toward Daniel, burning through him. He screamed, feeling his body fragment between light and flesh. Kalen reached for him, but the overseer held him back. If you break the link now, he dies for nothing. The energy converged. The chamber erupted in a sphere of golden brilliance that swallowed everything. When the light finally faded, the cavern was silent. The spire was whole again. The stasis pods dimmed. The overseer floated motionless, its surface cracked and scorched. Kalen coughed, pushing himself to his knees. Rourke. He looked up. Daniel stood at the center of the room, eyes glowing faintly gold. The glyphs on his skin were gone, replaced by a single mark on his chest, the symbol of the founders. Containment restored, the overseer said weakly. Entity neutralized. Kalen rose slowly. You did it. Daniel's voice was calm, distant. Not me. The Sentinel finished what it started. He looked toward the crystal chamber, then at his hands. But I can still hear them, the founders. Their code didn't vanish. It's part of me now. Kalen studied him. What does that mean? Rourke looked up toward the ceiling, where the faint glow of the gas giant filtered through cracks of gold light. It means humanity was never an accident. We were their echo, and now, their last defense. The overseer's optics flickered. The galaxy will come for you, Prototype Alpha. Some to follow. Some to destroy. Daniel nodded slowly. Then let them come. He turned toward the lift, the faint hum of the fortress responding to his presence once more. Outside, the storms of Nerithus parted, revealing the stars beyond, cold, endless, waiting. As he stepped into the light, the Sentinel's voice whispered through the air, ancient and serene. Directive complete. The Alpha has awakened. And with that, the fortress sank into silence. Its guardian reborn. Its secret no longer forgotten.